I want to pick a fight. Not with neurodivergent people, I'm one of them myself, but with the psychiatrists and psychologists that are trying to help people unmask so they can be healed and become their true self. I am a senior lecturer in psychology and a somatic coach and movement teacher. I've spent decades making a living from being able to supposedly mask. I wouldn't call it masking though. I'd call it having a supreme talent, as many neurodivergent people do, for picking up on nuances and being able to become a chameleon and fit myself to the circumstance such that I can help that person read themselves better. Look, I'm here to tell you that what you've been told is some kind of wound or damage might just be your greatest gift. The unmasking industry is based on a philosophical error, and I'm here to dismantle it. Inside of the concept that we ADHDers have been mistreated for years by being over-disciplined to follow neurotypical rules, sit down, shut up, stop fidgeting, etc. We've been damaged in the sense of developing a masking technique so that we're continually, as adults, pretzeling ourselves out of shape to fit the environment. And we are encouraged with the talk at the moment online to see that as an abnormal thing, a kind of victimhood that we need to hold on to and learn to unmask ourselves, drop the pretense, stop trying to fit in. My concern is there's a whole industry built on trying to sell us vulnerable ADHD as something, to help us find our true selves and to allow ourselves to behave as our true self needs us to in the moment without needing to hide something that might be socially unacceptable by others. This makes an assumption, of course, that there is a true self to be unmasked. And of course we've had philosophers like Sartre and Foucault, Heidegger and so on for centuries arguing that this is a fruitless hunting expedition simply because there is no one true self. There's no such thing as personality. It's a concept. And that all people, however their brain is wired, find their identity between people, within a contextual environment, within society's expectations, within our understanding of what's expected in the moment. This is not a radical idea. Humanistic psychology is not the authority on this. What I'm talking about is basic sociology and philosophy, and those of us who are psychologists from the social constructionist tradition who believe we have many identities and many selves which we draw from the context. And we can never be outside that context because we speak in a certain language. So for instance, clearly I'm English and there are customs, discourses, social rules, which I can never step outside of unless I can learn to think not in English and not be brought up in England. So I'm continually being constructed in the moment by those discourses, those concepts, those ways of talking about the world. I'm also a somatic movement coach, and I've been trained as a somatic coach, which means I'm trained to notice details about how people are speaking and presenting themselves, such that they can be moved on simply by me noticing and identifying that something in them that they may not be noticing. And also kind of encouraging them to have permission in the way that Family systems theory encourages to have integration with the many selves they may be, the not so nice ones, the angry ones, the ones that are disappointed, the parts of them, their shadow selves that are less acceptable publicly. So if we want to integrate those things, then it's useful if someone is noticing a part of us that we're in denial about, whilst we're talking about a problem we're trying to work through. But just in general social life, just in the basics of walking about the streets, someone with an ADHD brain may be skilled enough because they're so great at that pattern recognition and picking up tiny details. Let's say, for instance, I'm talking to a person who's supremely shy. Maybe I notice some self-soothing behavior that they're doing and I pick up on their anxiety. So yes, I change myself. I'm not putting on a mask. I'm noticing and changing who I'm being with that person. The loud, brash, showing off debs would not be appropriate in that moment. So I might quieten, I might step back a bit. I might notice what's happening and see how I can change who I'm being in the moment to present something for that person that they can't access without my noticing. What we risk if we are saying that to be in service of another human being by doing this little pretzeling is in fact something bad and wrong, something we need to be helped to escape from, to rip off the mask, then we risk showing the world that supreme level of emotional intelligence we have to be able to read a room in service of another person. But in doing that, we're not running away or escaping or hiding behind a mask in order to fit what's required within the context. This is supreme talent. Let's not miss out on claiming our brownie points for having this ability to read the room so acutely. Because our brains are wired that way. We haven't lost ourselves because we're so good at understanding and reading the room, spotting those tiny clues, watching the furrow in someone's brow, understanding the flicker of an eyelash and what that really means or could mean for the person that we're within a context to explore relational awareness with. But having this instrument, this ability to read the room, is not losing ourselves. This is the skill itself, not something we need to get rid of in order to find some mythical one true self. Psychologists have made a fortune and psychiatrists over the decades, well, probably loads longer than that, isn't it? Getting you to part with your money to scurry around trying to find your true self. But what if it's not there at all? What if your identity is always between people and within a discourse that's appropriate for the times and something that never stays still? A cultural ideology that you can challenge. So here's my challenge to the neurodivergent community. Shall we stop blaming masking for our exhaustion? At the end of the day, you could be hyper-focused on a computer task for several hours, and when you come out of it, no one thinks you're weird because you're knackered. So why is it weird to be knackered when you've been with people and reading the minutiae of their nonverbal language and the bits between the lines? Yes, it takes extra processing power, so you're going to be a bit tired at the end of that. But is there something wrong? Are you wearing a mask you need to rip off? Well, Sartre spoke of hell being other people. The whole idea that when we are at home in our bedroom, we're a different self from when we're sitting at a wedding quietly listening to a celebrant, because that's what's expected of us in that moment. And yes, there's conversations to be had about schooling and what is considered an ideology that needs challenging. I don't disagree with that. But it doesn't mean that neurodivergent people have learned to put on a mask. It means that they're extraordinarily emotionally intelligent. They have a unique relational awareness that's not available to neurotypical people who can't pick up those cues and who can't turn on a penny and be something new in the moment because they're creative and quick-witted. The question isn't, how do I unmask and find this very true self underneath it all? The question is more, what self do you want to create in the moment? What ideology do you want to challenge? What new discourse do you want to bring about? How can you create another self? Because you've got many of them, not just one. And it's perfectly fine. But some of them are more obviously context dependent. So please, don't part with your money to a psychologist or a psychiatrist who's teaching you the relief of unmasking. Maybe it's your very best talent.